Another episode of BizTalks with Charlize is here. And if you are new around here, you might not know that this is the continuation of the live video series with online course creators, online business coaches, and online mindset coaches who could leverage the the connection that live video gives to them. And so this is a reiteration of the first series that was live between 2018 and 2019. And I thought that because what is worth sharing again and again is the journey itself that takes us from beginners to business owners, or the very early stages of trying ourselves out in the online space. And because of this past year, there is a surge in online coaches and service providers. I aim to help you um, understand better what it is that you can expect from this journey, what it is that you can avoid dealing with, and what it is that you need to focus on. So this is why I am bringing you people who have done it, been there, and can help you, inspire you, and maybe show you the way where you can head, right? So with that said, without further ado, let's get started with Charlize, who is a copywriter and launch strategist. Welcome, Charlize.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So tell us, you might not know, but I remember you from the Social Curator, and I remember you starting out sometime late 2018. Am I right?
Yes, my official it's been officially over 2 years exactly. And Social Curator, I remember you as well. I love that group. We met there because I was just learning after pivoting my entire life and to a new business what I was going to do with my skills and start to sell service online. And I got my start there.
So what made you mentioned that you pivoted completely and started a new season of your life. What made you start an online business?
Well, this is interesting because I was actually a hairstylist for over 20 years. I owned a salon. I flew around the United States teaching for some high end hair products. I was the beauty like queen. Like I thought that was what I would do my entire life. I'd been doing it since I was 19. And then I had an emergency back injury. And out of nowhere, one day, I just got up and I actually couldn't walk. So I had to go to the hospital. I had emergency surgery. And even though they said I could do hair again, I knew I couldn't. It was going to continue to give me problems with my back. So I made the decision to retire from hair. And then as I was recovering, which took a very long time, actually, it took about a year of recovery. During my recovery, I thought, well, I have a lot of skills from working with people, even doing hair, right? We talk with people, we learn a lot of business techniques as well, since I owned my own business. And I thought, how can I help women do that all over the world from my computer and actually from my bed because I was recovering and realized that that was I had marketable skills. So that's what I did. I picked a name and I started reaching out to different places on social media to get hired to do work. And that's exactly what happened.
You are so right to say that once you run a business offline, there is a host of skills that you can monetize online. That is for sure. And there is no better place to learn how to network and how to build connections than in a hair salon, right? This is such an intimate relationship
Absolutely.
that you can form with your clients. After all, they trust you with their head, their image, their appearance. And how did you choose to repackage those skills online? So what helped you get started?
I did a few online searches, and the most amazing thing is there were already pioneers in this online coaching industry that were out there on social media that made it very easy to find. That taught me that there were different things like with Social Curator that I could help people with social media, and I was very good at that on my own. So I thought, oh my gosh, if I learn a few skills, I could be marketable to help people who don't have the time to learn these skills or not good at it or don't like this item and want to pay someone to do it. So I started watching videos online. I educated myself as much as I could. I spent a lot of time learning what I did and did not want to do, and there are certain things I just don't like to do, and it was good to learn which of those things I would be best at. And also, once you get out there on social media and start meeting people in Facebook groups and Instagram, and my belief is that social media should be social. You should make friends. You should talk with people. They are real humans behind the screens. So once you get there and start talking with the real people, connections just come out of everywhere, and you learn. Just like in on offline as well, every door you open, every person you meet leads to that next thing, and you never know where you're going to end up. And that's exactly how it happened for me. So really, just getting out there and putting myself out there, which I will admit is not totally easy, especially when you've gone through a traumatic experience like I did. I mean, you start to feel, I felt like I had lost my entire life. And so I thought, what am I doing? But once you just get that courage, muster it up, get out there and start talking and learning, and Google is my best friend. Once I leaned into all of that, the rest started to flow.
Yes, there are a lot of things you can learn on Google, and even a lot more things that you can learn through working with clients. So, how did you pivot from
Mhm.
social media? And I remember you used to be a virtual assistant
Mhm.
with a focus on social media to
Mhm.
copywriting and launch strategy, because although I see the connection, but they are two very different things. Where one, so being a virtual assistant, it is more like supporting your client, whereas where you are a strategist, you are setting, the path, or paving the path for your clients that they can walk through. Am I right to say
Mhm.
that?
Oh, you are exactly right. In fact, it's all about experience. And so when I was first starting out, the first step for me was to figure out I didn't really know what I could do. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to do a generic label of virtual assistant, put down a few things I know I'm good at, especially social media, and then see where that goes. And I mean, that could have ended up being my career for my entire life, but I have big goals. I always want to grow and do more. That's just who I am. It's who I've always been. So when I was thinking about becoming a virtual assistant, I thought, but what would be after that? What could I grow to? And I thought I wanted to run an agency and have a lot of women below me. But as I met women who were doing that, I looked at it and I thought, no, that's not what I want to do, time wise, or with what I like to do. I'm more creative, and I missed doing hair and making things beautiful. So it ended up being that the clients led me down my path, and it naturally happened because of who I am. So what I mean by that is I was doing social media, I loved it, but my favorite part was writing those captions. My favorite part was talking to my clients and getting to know their deeper story and making sure that showed in their social media posts and emails. And then I started writing emails, and then clients start asking, oh, well, can you also do this? And so when you're a new service provider, especially a VA, I think you want to say yes to everything. So I was like, yes, I can do that. So like you said it perfectly. You learn on the job. So people would say, do you know how to program this? Do you know how to do that? And I would Google it, look for a quick course on it. Next thing you know, I was an email specialist. So I was a VA with email and copy specialties. Then I started taking copy classes because clients saw that I could write copy and content for social media, next they wanted me to help them convert client to sales. It wasn't just about happy, Instagram captions. It was about, now how do we use the science of conversion to get them to buy. And before you knew it, I was making sales pages and I was helping people sell their product online. And it continued to lead me down a path where I started working for some actual big names in the industry, starting out, because what's neat about starting out is you don't have an ego. You just kind of take jobs as they come and learn. So I took low end paying jobs from high up people, and they were training me on the job as well. And I went through $1 million launches. I went through 6-figure launches with lots of women online. And that started to teach me that that was my favorite thing, the strategy of helping someone to see how to go from, I don't know, like a free product to making $1 million. The path was so clear to me. But as I began to talk to other clients and other women online, it's not a clear path for everybody. And so I realized now I have a new marketable skill, but one that I love to do. And so for me, finding your passion and what you're good at together is what makes your business sustainable. Because not only can you sell it over and over, but if you enjoy it, you're going to want to do it over and over and over again. And that's how it found me. I just became a launch expert out of nowhere. And so now people call me, and when we start to do our strategy sessions, they need me to build their funnels and show them how to go, from 0 to 1 million on that one launch, or multiple launches usually is what it takes to get from the first time you do it to that $1 million mark. And I happen to know how to do that. So there you go.
It's interesting that you say that you were trained on the job and you saw what went down and what goes into a successful launch. And if I compare all the buzz on social media with all those 6-figure launches, we don't really see the bridge that takes them there, right? It's just that I know how to make it. How, how do you market this service so that it doesn't feel, just being one among the many lately?
Oh, that's such a good point, because a lot of people realized launches are important and people need help. So there's actually a lot more people talking about becoming launch specialists. The good news is I kind of saw that early on last year and started using this term in a lot of my marketing. So people are
Hello?
already started to see me. Can you hear me? Yeah. People have started to see me that way. Okay. So people started already seeing me that way. And then once that happens, referrals start to happen. But mainly for me, here's the key to standing out. And this is what I tell my clients. This is what I talk about a lot online as well.
Yes, I can hear
You
you.
want, okay. Um, what we really want to do is make sure that we're not copying what everyone else is doing. And that's very difficult because when you see someone successful, you want to repeat it, right? You want to say, oh, that worked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if everyone starts doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it gets really messy and everyone becomes nothing. Like, it's not easy to see. So I explain to my clients, a quote from Sally Hogshead: different is better than better, which means that you might actually be the best launch specialist. You might be better than me, but if your marketing, if your information you're putting out into the online space and through emails and everything that you're doing to market yourself doesn't show how you're different, it doesn't explicitly show how or why you're different, no one's going to be able to see that you're different. And it's just that simple. So, some of the little tips that go into that are something as simple as, don't just copy everyone's social media because it's a trend. So if there's a certain graphic or colors that are a trend, right now there's a lot of fonts that are the same. I'm seeing them out there. People scroll past those. People scroll right by them. So don't do the same exact thing. And that goes for things as well as like reels. Reels are so hot right now for getting attention and getting the algorithm on Instagram. And the top thing to do with reels is to use sounds that people are hearing over and over again. Use the same sound, but don't do the same dance. Don't use the same font. Don't use the same colors because people will scroll right past you if you're not different, if you're not saying something different, if you're not doing something that makes them stop and say, oh, I haven't seen this yet. I haven't seen this before. So that's what I do with my marketing. I make sure that I'm trying not to look too much like everyone else, trying not to jump on everyone's trends. And again, in copy, you have to be very clear. You have to say, this is how I bridge A to B. So people, when they read your caption, first they're going to stop because you look a little different but exciting. They're going to read because your hook on your first line or on your reel is like, what? I want to know about that. And as they continue to read, you have that opportunity to explain and show them how you are different and why your skills will get them where they want to go. One thing that makes me completely unique to other people is I'm naturally an educator. I'm naturally a teacher. So I don't just take you through your launch and do all the work as a VA. I actually don't do that anymore. What I do is I help you plan it, and then I teach you how you can repeat this process for yourself and change it every time you do the launch to make it better and better. And it got to the point where I'm getting to have so much fun teaching with my clients and coaching them that I'm actually creating a course about it just so that they can have that and watch it on repeat and make their own course better and better with each launch.
Okay, so I saw your stories from yesterday, and I know that yesterday was the filming day or the shooting day for your course. And I know that it's going to be about how to launch courses, right? What it is that you focus on in this course, and who is this course perfect for?
So this course is actually called Plan Your Best Launch Ever, because every time I get into a strategy session with helping someone strategize, the thing that's most confusing for most online business owners is, how do I even do this? And many of them have already launched something before and would like it to be more successful, but they're not. A lot of people aren't really strategic. They just kind of go there, do what someone might tell them, try it. And I think that's fantastic. Go out, jump, do it, try it. But if you want to grow and you want to make your each launch more successful, if you want to get to that $1 million mark with your launches, it actually has to be very strategic. And so, what makes my course really amazing for any service provider who's either launching the first time, but it's even better for those who've launched at least once before, um, is that it shows you the path on how to create your calendar. So I'll teach you how to make a calendar that you literally go on and make on Google. You just go onto Google Docs and make a calendar, and you can clearly see exactly when your emails and social media need to be posted and sent, what they need to be saying, what each one needs to have in it to go through the path of leading your consumer through your launch to purchase. It also is going to have templates. So I have created templates for every scenario, and then a little teaching lesson on how to create your posts and your emails. So whether you're doing it or your team is doing it, little bonuses that are included is something huge for people, is how to write those viral posts in Facebook groups that get people to want to download your freebies and grow. So while you're planning your launch, you should be growing your base of audience. So that way, when the doors open, you have a lot more people who are going to be interested. So what makes this different is you're going to be learning how to strategize before you even launch and build your audience while you're doing it. So that way, when the launch comes, it's so much easier and not hectic. I have been hired by so many people to do launches, and I'm talking about high up people and then also newbies. And when we get into launch season, I stress the key is preparation. So that way, in that week or two of open cart, you're not running around freaking out, which a lot of people do. It's hard, it's scary. People are asking to join. You don't know if they're the right client, and you find out that you didn't program that email, and that the social media caption went out with, like, an error, and everyone's kind of struggling. If you prepare as much as you can ahead of time, when those little hiccups happen, you're not completely stressed out, and it saves energy, time, and frustration, and it keeps you from feeling defeated before the launch is over. Because during launches, a lot of people buy in the beginning, and then during this long middle struggle, a lot of people are waiting to buy to the very end. And so people give up early. And I've seen it time and time again. This wasn't the right launch. Let's not follow it all the way through. There's a lot of things that happen in that time frame. So if you plan ahead and you plan for your best launch ever, it helps you get through the entire season without feeling so overwhelmed and defeated. And then you see your numbers are a lot higher and you make more sales that way.
Totally agree with you. It's like, it's like all the ups and downs and highs and lows in one week when you launch. But
Yeah.
preparation definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think your course is going to launch? Do you have a timeline for it?
Mm-hmm. So just because it was filming doesn't mean it hasn't been being prepared this whole time. This is just the final videos and edits are getting done in the next couple of weeks. So I know we're July 1st, but before the end of the month, so within the next 2 to 3 weeks, it will be out and it'll be open and it'll be ready. So you can stay tuned for all of those announcements and all of those things, because pretty much everything else is done except for just getting those videos edited. And I wanted the most accurate, up to date information. So when I was creating the videos, to me, it was the last thing I wanted to do, because, you never know what might come up. If reels weren't included, because I started working on this months ago, it's like, oh, I've got to redo this video. So all of that has now been made so that it's the most up to date possible and has the best information to have your best launch.
Incredible. As we are getting closer to finishing off this conversation, I have to tell you, I have this very strong feeling that you, so it must have been really terrifying and really shocking to go through everything you have gone through, but the insane amount of growth, personal and business wise, you've gone through over the course of these past couple of years is just amazing. I have to tell you. And I have the feeling that all through last year, I don't want to say, the C word, but you were prepared. And I saw that those service providers and coaches who were prepared for the past, or they were ready before last year, could grow even more or exponentially during 2020. Is it true for you too, or is it something that you cannot relate to?
Oh, it's absolutely true. In fact, because my back injury was the year before, so most of 2019 for me was spent healing. And as you mentioned, we say I went through this and blah blah blah. I mean, it was really rough. I will just mention that briefly. So during all of that personal growth with, physical therapy, mental therapy, going through all the motions, and I didn't mention this earlier, but I had actually sold my house and moved in with my family to help recover. So I really did feel like I had lost my entire life and started over from scratch. So during that time, I was in the house a lot. I was already home a lot. I was already in a new area, not outside a lot. So a year later, when everyone else was homebound, I was already through the tough part. So for me, I had already built those skills of, like, okay, hard times mean that we we just work harder. Hard times mean that we take the time to heal and then we keep going. And so I think for those of us who have had traumatic experiences in the past, who've been pushed down, when it comes to a new traumatic experience, it does get a little easier. But what was amazing for me was I could relate so much to everyone else because this was new for a lot of people. They were very much struggling in their business because of the emotional and mental things that were happening due to being locked down. So many people were just like giving up on their business, feeling defeated because of all the things they had to deal with on the other side of life. So I was excited that I could help so many people with my prior experience. And so, a lot of people were like, I'm stuck at home. And I'm like, that's okay. I've been stuck at home for over a year. Here's what you do. And I think that lesson, unfortunately, I had to go through it. But it did make me a lot stronger, but also more relatable and empathetic for others. So I could understand if I tell a client, we need to get this done by this date, and they just aren't there mentally. They just can't. Sometimes that happens in a launch where they say, you know what, I'm just not feeling it. If they don't come with the right energy, it also won't launch well. So I don't get upset. I don't say like, get it together. I get it. We've been through a lot. And so it's okay to take a little bit, not too much, because then you postpone it for years and years, but a little bit of time to go through whatever that emotional feeling is so you can show up very clear and strong so you can do this right.
What would be the advice that you would give to your younger self, let's say yourself in 2018, with all the knowledge and experience that you have now?
My best advice is to never to start whatever it is that you think you want to do, because here's the kicker. When I look back, I had been manifesting change. I was already getting tired and achy, and I loved doing hair and everything that I did, but I was ready to do something a little more slow paced with my life. I was ready to change, and I didn't know how. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that looked like, to be able to leave whenever I wanted and not worry I was going to lose clients and go on a vacation or whatever that meant. So when the change came, I was like, oh, the only thing I wish I would have known was I could have already been doing some of this earlier. I could have been, I should have started maybe a little earlier with looking into how to do these things, because I think I already wanted to do this. I already knew there were online things. I had taken, actually, my first online course was a hairstylist who was an Amy Porterfield, one of her first clients. And she was using everything Amy taught and made her own course for hairstylists to do social media, which is how I got so good at social media. So I saw that world was there, and I almost wish I had started learning a little bit sooner. So I don't I don't look at that as like a negative, but what I think I would have told myself was, you're interested in that online stuff. Go learn faster, take more courses. Don't be afraid of this, because um, just because you have one thing that you're good at doesn't mean you can't start the other thing now. So if you're thinking of starting something and you feel it in your bones, go for it. And that's what I would tell anyone out there. Don't delay, just go for it.
And also, it's my personal experience that if I have the nudge and I don't act on it, the nudge is becoming bigger and bigger until, if the desire is true to your heart. So, and there's the nudge, and if you don't act on the nudge, then you will get bigger and bigger, setbacks or kicks from life, and then finally you have to give in to your nudge. So it's better if you start, you know at the very first couple of nudges or after the very first couple of nudges, right?
Exactly. I feel that that's definitely what happened to me. And I use the word manifest. I'm not a woo-woo kind of person, but I do think that our mind is so strong that we create the scenarios for ourselves subconsciously. So I was thinking, how am I going to get out of doing hair when I'm ready to retire, but I'm not fiscally and financially ready for this? And instead of supporting myself, getting ready for a change, my body said, okay, I know, we're just going to give out. And so I think that's how my own body and mind manifested all that stress that was happening on one side to help me to change. And, I don't ever say I have regrets. So I don't regret how things happened. Each thing played a step. But like you said, if I could have told myself to start a little earlier, I don't know if I would have avoided a back surgery, but I do know that I would have felt a little more secure at the time I was going through everything, saying, well, I already have a backup plan.
Thank you so much for coming. And if you want to connect with Charlize, there is a link at the bottom of the screen, so you can check that out. And next week we are coming up with another amazing lady who has another very inspiring entrepreneurial journey. And until next time, stay tuned. Have a lovely rest of your week. Bye.